Okay, just out of the paint booth. I mean, literally, it's still wet. I walked from the paint booth over here to the camera, and wow, I'm just so pleased with the way that silver has turned out. Aside from the blemishes which I put into it, I'm super happy with the way that looks right now. For silver, this is probably my nicest silver paint job, even over the Franklin, and this is prior to any gloss going on to here, so by the time that gets there, it's going. Now I need to put another coat on here. I'm too dark across this pontoon, but I wanted to just take a moment and make sure that we were going to get there with this silver under the regular LED lights, and I think that I'm very excited with the way that turned out. And now that the silver's on there, all the little tiny details are starting to come out. So like where these latches go, that's there. There's a star here. There's a star on this side, star here. You know, all of that is starting to pop. And then, I don't know, let's see here. This is the contrast with the ladder. Nope, not going to touch it. That's silver. We'll just let that dry. And like I said, we've got that drying agent on there. So what I am going to do is let this dry for quite some time, maybe even 24 hours. Just let it dry. And then once it's dry, I'm going to go back in and put one more coat of the silver on. I'm going to sand it between coats. Color block it, it's called, I think. And then we will put the next coat of silver on here. But my cowling and that grill, super pleased with the way that looks in there. And it's just got a nice shine. And again, this is just Martha Stewart's pure platinum paint. Yeah, it's definitely too dark over here, so I want to make sure I double hit that twice over there. And you can just see how nice that flowed out right out of the airbrush for a change. And you know, I'm really excited. That to me, that's one of my nicer paint jobs that I've done on a model, especially on silver. So let this dry. I got to go clean my airbrush out, but we'll let this dry up, and then when we come back, we will be sanding on this one more time to take that gloss down. And here's the bottom, same thing. Yeah, just put a scar in it as usual. That's still tacky. So. The nice thing about this, having this bar already attached, is that you can just take this, squeeze that bar, maybe, there we go, so I'll have to sand that again. A little too anxious on stuff, but, you can now see the lines, you can see the extra work I did here with the sandpaper and there, where I blended those lines with some putty, and you can start to see the lines of these tanks and so forth. And I'm really going to be excited to see what it looks like to peel that steel off, tape off the steel. We'll pop the windows and then put new windows in there. There's windows that go right here that I wasn't aware of, and so I've opened those up, and there is glass for it, but I think I'm just going to use microcrystal clear, and that will light from the interior lighting. And there are lights that attach here, or crystal lights, but they don't have any lights behind them, which is fine. But I'll probably paint those red and a green to match the red and the green starboards here. So, especially since we've got the three headlights going in the other section there. So that is the Victory Hawk 357, and maybe, let's see if I've got that part here handy and close. Right here, that might get covered, might not, probably draw attention to it. Yeah, so that is the steel against the regular paint there. And I think that that's just enough contrast. I didn't want it super contrasty, but it's definitely a different color, which means that these 4 pieces that are taped are going to be a different color, and I'm fine with that, quite honestly. And then my flashing light back here will look great. So yeah, I am highly pleased with the paint and the way it's turned out. One more coat of silver on there. Peel the tape off of the bottoms and everything, and then once that tape is peeled, then we can put a coat of clear gloss over this, and that's going to make everything just pop like crazy. But from what I'm seeing here in the Ekranoplan, maybe give a shot like that. I think we're on our way. It's almost life size, isn't it? I think it is. I think it is a 1-to-1 scale on that directions. So I think once we're there, yeah, very, very pleased. All right, I'll be back with you after this dries and we get some sanding on it. Thanks. Well, we are out of the paint booth with the Victory Hawk 357, and I have to say I think I'm very pleased. As just a quick note, here is the Victory Hawk windshield, and that has been dipped in a coat of Future, and I made great progress. And I'm actually going to go dip one more level in that, and then I've got to paint that base, or paint that with the frame of it with the color of the hull, which is that silver there, or pure titanium from, no, pure platinum from Martha Stewart's paints, which I get at Michael's, at least I have been. But that is looking fantastic. Very excited about that. Even better, I'm completely pleased with the last coat of paint, or the next coat of paint, last coat of paint that went onto this. That silver just has a real creamy look to it. I did one more 1000 grit sanding with wet sandpaper on, color blocked it, and it did take down some of the things that were causing me some grief, and just very, very, very pleased with the way that has turned out. So the next step is to pull the tape, and I have no idea what this is going to look like when it's pulled, so you know, we could be repainting some other stuff here, no question about it. But there wasn't a whole lot of tape on this model, but there is some. And starting with this one right here, let's see if we can pull that up. Oh, superb. Yeah, very, very pleased. So this is Martha Stewart's Pure Platinum mixed with Mr. Hobby leveling thinner, and then this is steel, just straight up Model Masters steel, and it gave me, or it's giving me, that look of you know, a different color for sure, different texture. Oh yeah. And then you know, the nice thing about it is that once you put clear over that, you're really going to make that pop out just really nicely. More right there. So yeah, very excited about that. And it's only been about an hour since I painted this, so of course I'm going to booger it up, as they say in northern Indiana, with some kind of challenge. But I just couldn't resist to pull this tape and see what occurred here. Wow, how about that? Yeah, just excellent, 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 excellent. Definitely see a difference in that steel on the lower runners there. Let's get this last piece off, maybe. Now I did have a problem here, but I'm going to just sand that and do a little bit of airbrushing, and you'll never see it. It bled down in probably from the back, but yeah, from a paint perspective, this is almost ready to go back. Like I said, I'll sand that up a little bit, spray that with a little more steel again. Not even going to tape this off, you'll never see it, but I want to smooth that out just a little bit on this back section here. Once that's done, then it's a coat of Tester's lacquer clear, and I want to put that over this so that it just brings up that shine all over again. And then it's greebles and a little more work, but then, like I said, we'll get the light in there, or the headlight. We'll get the windshield in there. Boy, that just really turned out nice. I think one more coat of future floor polish, and that's going to take care of that. Once I get gloss on all of this, it'll blend, and we are on our way to finishing up the actual model itself. And then we're going to go to work on the base, which I'm going to try to do a water diorama. Never done that before. Watched a couple of videos on how some guys have done it. It looks like it's doable, but for right now, I am just super happy with the look of that. Like I said, the next step would be to glue on things like the wings here. Looks like that one might go right there. Yeah. And if you remember, the outside wings have a different color. You can see it. You can see it right there. It's a different color. That's steel. And along with the bottom portion has bottom side has been coated steel. So that is a different silver. But the bottom and the outside were steel, and then the top and the inside are the silver that we've been using, or the pure platinum. That will glue in just like so. Not going to worry about any. I'm not going to worry about any lines or anything like that. Instead, I'm just very excited about it. Now, these are really shallow. These are not, and so what I did with this one is I just went ahead and trimmed that right off, and I'm going to do the same for that, and then just use a glue to go across there. But I think that once we pop these windows, after the coat of clear is on, this is going to look like an entirely different. Even the bottom just turned out so nice for me for a silver, and I think once that gloss goes on, I just don't think it's going to be. I don't think I can compare it to anything. So I am going to set this up again for the evening, just like this. Let it sit. And you know what? Let's see what it looks like powered up here. And I did let this burn for almost 48 hours just till it's burned out. Power down some lights. I think you should be able to see that. So I do have interior lights that are going to come up. Those are going to look great. I do know my nav or my anti-collision lights look really good on the bottom here. Those are going to look good. My rockets, all three of those are not rockets, my jet engines, the reds look good. That red looks good on that side, green there. My three headlights across the front, and you can start to see the interior just a little bit behind the paper wadding that's in there. So yeah, that is dynamite from a lighting perspective. And once we get those blinking back here with the anti-collision lights blinking, and then these are going to have a triple blink, and these are going to have a single blink, half second on, whatever the rate is. We'll figure that out. But once we get all this put together, let's get this up on there. We are there. So, as I mentioned, the next step is I'm going to use a darker color for the back of the jets and the cones, just to give some really nice contrast, so it'll look something like that. So we've got that to do. The ladder's already been painted. This top hatch has already been painted. And I'm not going to clear coat that. We're just going to leave it kind of as it sits. Just like that. And so that'll be a contrast there. Very pleased about that when that goes on. And yeah, so good progress. So next step, clear gloss this after it's had about another 24 hours to dry. And then we'll be back to start the decaling and the greebles and putting all that together. And then it's the water. Diorama after that. That's going to be pretty straightforward. Basically, I'm going to take this frame. I'm going to pop that picture out. I'm going to put a piece of wood in here because I like this black frame. I think that looks great. Do white glue and tin foil to give me my ocean. And then I'm going to try to make a wake underneath this. The size is going to be just about right. And I'm just going to do one switch in the front to turn everything on. And then in the back, I'm going to do 2 switches to change the rates of the anti-collision lights and the nav lights. So again, that's going to be pretty straightforward. So stay with me. We're making great progress. When we come back, you'll see clear gloss on the model. Thank you. Okay, so working on the base of the Ekranoplan, the Victory Hawk 357. What I did is I took a frame and removed the glass, broke it unfortunately, removed the glass, and I do like the frame, so I think that's going to look fantastic. I went and got a piece of aircraft plywood, and then the first thing I did is took a coat of SIG coverall. That's important. Get some lighting going here. SIG coverall, which is a lightweight polyester-based fabric that can be applied dry, grain runs parallel to the finished edge, springs tight with iron or a heat gun. But I didn't need to do that. What I did is I took a coat of it and basically just took Elmer's glue and just rubbed it in. So that is now ready to go back into the frame like so. And that's just my foundation right there for the water. And having watched several of these online, so my next step is I just took some tin foil, heavy duty aluminum foil, and doubled it over, crinkled it up, and now I'm going to just start to glue that down, a couple straight hairs there, with the Elmer's glue. Now I've seen guys that take a lot of time and water this down, but I'm not so concerned about that. But basically, just going to take a patch of glue and kind of spread that out. Just going to spread it out here. Just like so. Just fill in top. Top like that, and then grab another batch here. Actually, I'm going to go up here on this side. A longer one. So. All right, we are back with the Victory Hawk 357, the Ekranoplan. And I have created my version of a Waterscape Landscape. It's Waterscape, I guess. And right now what I'm doing is going over this. There is awesome set of details or examples of how to do water on YouTube. I've seen a ton of them. and I did my best. This is my very first waterscape here, but basically I took toilet paper and white PVA glue, heavily diluted with water, and soaked each piece, and then rolled some up to create these wave heights, and basically covered the whole thing there. And then once I had it all covered, then I just used a series of sea blue, sea gray, deep sea green, and just gently hit it with my my airbrush, basically just highlighting each layer and direction. And then I took Tamiya White X2 and highlighted my wave tops, and just basically dry brushed all this stuff on here. And now what I'm doing is taking, this is pouring medium, and basically it's got it at Hobby Lobby, but it's like a thick acrylic gel, and you put it on and it goes on a little bit cloudy, but it pools in the lower areas. You can see where it's pooling, starting to give me a decent gloss. This is the second coat that I've added here, and I am definitely no artiste as far as the highlights and the painting of freeform stuff. You know, that's not a skill set that I possess at the moment. I am fairly pleased with this. One of the things I did is I took some dark green. This is just dark green from Model Masters acrylic, and hit some of these darker spots and lighter spots with different lighter blues and greens. The darker gives you the impression of a much deeper water. So that's deeper here in through the areas. Hopefully it gives you that look that you know, it's not just a straight cityscape or landscape or waterscape, but it's got depth to it, and it's got definitely a different look. This pouring medium is just really easy to put on, and I'm not being super duper careful about having one area thick or thin, because that's what all this is about, and definitely enjoying how this is going together. But I really like the dimensionality of it, and you know, for my first one, I'm pretty pleased with the turnout. I'm ecstatic with the turnout, quite honestly. I had no idea what this would look like. But now we're going to let that dry for a period of time. And then here's the actual Ekranoplan is done and complete, except for one piece. I'll have to put that on separately, and that's the little piece that goes right there. It's a photo etch piece. It's been painted red, but this has got a couple of coats of X22 clear gloss base from Tamiya, and that has really turned out nice. You can see my red photo etch there in the front grille, and let's see if I can just get this plugged in with the real quick here. Don't know if I can. Sorry about being off camera. Gotta use my hands. Yeah, so interior lights up. We've got windows, and like I said, that gloss on the bottom has really turned out nice. Decals are on. They've been coated with clear coat, so they're not coming off, and the rockets look really nice. So yeah, that is the Ekranoplan as we're moving on, progress on that. Very excited, and this I think is starting to look dynamite, and that is going to fit. Ooh, that's a little sticky. I'm going to stop touching it. That is going to fit into my frame like so. I've cut 2 holes back here for the rate of the blinkers and 1 for the power, and that's going to be it. So we'll put that together. And it looks like we're seeing some progress here on this. As soon as it dries, it'll dry a little more matte, but once that's dry, then I'm going to actually add yet another color, or I'm sorry, another coat of this pouring medium. And I've never used this before, but it says it creates even puddles, poured sheets, and fluid color application won't crack or hold bubbles upon drying. So for me, I think it's looks pretty good. I wouldn't want to try this with a bunch of clear. It would just take far too long to load up. So stay with me. We're almost ready to go into the next step here, but this will probably dry. It'll probably take a few hours to dry, and then we'll do yet another coat, and then I think that's going to be it. Then we'll mount this in the base and do the switches and wiring, and that will bring this to a close. So stay with me. We'll be back. Thanks. All right, hey, welcome to the finale of the Victory Hawk, the 357 Victory Hawk from AMP Models, the Ekranoplan. And here is the first pass of the little aircraft, of the little anti-gravity aircraft from the 1930s. This was a ton of fun to put together. The little craft surprised me. I was just fearing all of those little butt joints, which had butt joints on everything, on every fuselage half to the pontoon halves, to even where they match up to the little stubby wings and so forth. And even though it's designed to slot in with keys and so forth, it just didn't come together that way. I guess the big challenge is that I don't know on the precision of this mold, but there's enough to work with here that you can make this model work. The silver finish on this, I did have a significant challenge towards the end. So I had used the Martha Stewart's Pure Platinum silver on this. It's just pure platinum. And I'll say that went on absolutely perfect. Where I messed up is I then moved to the Tester's Ultra Gloss lacquer finish. And I don't know if my paint wasn't cured long enough or I had too many coats on that, but it really made some of that silver run. And and I got it on too heavy, to be quite honest. So I did a little more work with that, but essentially what I was able to do was recover almost all of the silver paint with clear X22, I think it is, clear gloss from Tamiya. And by putting on two or three more coats of that, I was actually able to get the gloss I was looking for, which is that really, that shiny metal. I didn't want aluminum on here, and I have to say that by hitting that with that gloss, it turned out very, very nice. And I'm very pleased with the steel color on the bottom of the pontoons, on the top of the walkways, on the ladder, on the hatch, on the gas filler tubes that I used. All of that I think turned out really nice. The one thing I wish that this model had, and I could have, I should have looked for something, but on the top hatch, although there's a hatch there, the illustration shows like the submarine round latch, right? And this doesn't have that detail on it, and that would be something that a great scratch detailer, scratch builder could detail that out with and make that happen. The water that you're seeing before you, again, I don't know if I had time to explain that. I don't think I filmed it, but basically there are some excellent YouTube videos on how to do a water diorama. This was my very first attempt at doing one of those. So essentially I started with just a piece of aircraft plywood, then put a layer of silk across that just to give it a firm base to work with, all using a watered down white PVA glue. And then I, to get the texture there, crinkled up a bunch of aluminum foil and glued that down piece by piece by piece. And then after the aluminum foil was down, I took one more coat of aluminum foil over the whole thing. And then once that was done, then I started with just paper napkins. Try to get paper napkins that don't have much of a pattern to them. It makes it a lot easier to work with. Otherwise, you really have to wet it down and hit it with hit them with a brush quite a bit to break it down. Then I rolled up a couple of paper napkins to give me that look of the wave or the wake behind the Ekranoplan. And from there, I then just started painting, and I painted, just took my airbrush at different angles, and that gave me different highlights and lowlights. I started with a sea blue, then I went to sea green, and then I went to 3 or 4 sea grays. Just painted, to give you the overall foundation, and then I just used white XF22 or XF20, I think it is. I'm not quite sure. XF2 maybe. Just used a white paint to go over the top with almost dry brushing, paying particular focus on the waves tops themselves, where I would add a little more white paint. And then I just used that pouring medium and did that. So let's talk about the lighting on this a little bit, now that you see it completely done. The lighting is really nice with, in my opinion, with the warm white of the cob lighting for the interior, and in person that really just looks warm. It's not blowing through the cockpit. That's simply the camera picking up all that bright light. The 3 headlights turned out at the right color, so they are a white compared to the yellow of the interior. And then you can see the blinking triple blink rate on the top anti-collision light, and you can actually see it reflecting off the bottom anti-collision light. And then the navigation station keeping lights turned out amazing. So I did go ahead and put the crystal pieces that come with the kit over the top of that. That provided a really fantastic lens, because they are actually proud of the hull and are proud of those pontoons. So that is something that I'm really pleased with. And then the jet engines are really in scale with what the rest of that looks like there. So I get a really nice red off the back of that. And for my part, I'm really excited and pleased with the lighting. And again, I just used my Flytron.com 2 little chips, one for the triple blink rate and one for the navigation lights. Now the nice thing is, you've seen those 2 switches on the back. You can adjust the triple blink rate to 5 different levels, and you can see some of my other videos for how I've done that. But it's a very simple little processor board. No programming involved. You just simply put in the power out to the LEDs, and then there's one more little jumper set that you can wire to, and that's what I wired to on the back for that process. That is how the lighting turned out. A couple other highlights from painting the model itself. The grille is just straight gray or straight silver. I didn't use any washes on that. These are raised panel lines throughout this model, so there's really nothing that you can use a wash on. I didn't weather it. I don't think this would be out in the weather long enough to affect the paint. I think this would have been a shiny, brand new Ekranoplan when this flew. It's aged since then. I don't even know if any of these exist, but it's aged since then. The other thing I'm very pleased that I did is on the cowling, this has 4 buckles, and those 4 buckles I think are really a nice, I painted those a lipstick red. Same thing with the red on the emblem that sits on top of the cockpit.
but that lipstick red really stands out against the silver of this airplane or Ekranoplan. And what I really like, here in the dark, you can see that green light is pulsing off of the green ocean. And since this is a Caspian Sea, I would assume it's not a deep blue Caspian Sea. It would be that green, dark green, black color of the ocean and where that sits. Same thing here with the red. You can see it pulse off of that ocean water. And I'm really kind of pleased with the gloss here, as it pulses off the back of the anti-collision lights at that point, right? The base is just a simple frame that I placed a piece of plywood into it, and here you can see those rocket engines coming in, or those jet engines coming into focus. And again, I'm really excited about the way that turned out. I think that this plane is a really nice conversation piece to sit on my shelf. It's one of those things that you look at it at first, you just don't know what it is, but with those stubby wings, that it's not a true airplane, but that something else had to come together. I had a significantly enjoyable time putting this together. It was a lot of fun to do the lighting. The lighting was really quite simple. And here you can see again those jet engines in the back. You can see really much nicer how much nicer the cockpit looks at that point. You can see behind the cockpit, just at the bottom of the ladder, there is my one light leak, and that's already been fixed since the filming of this. But once I got it into the total dark, there's that one light leak. And also fixed the one light leak right there at the bottom of the windshield. The windshield was pretty challenging to get in. Again, I had to cut that down and cut the windshield down as well. And I don't think I've mentioned it yet, but the front of this grill has got a photo etch piece that comes with the model. I think it says Saveta, but those that speak Russian, same thing with right here. If you could tell me what that means, anybody that reads Russian, I would really like to know what that little decal says right there. And again, now you can really see those cowling clamps come into focus. And like I said, I think that they turned out really nice for a contrast look, along with the red piece on top of the cockpit. And that's just two pieces of photo etch glued together, and then painted red and glued to the top of that. And here again is that really nice front piece of photo etch for the grill. And that's the reason I bought this model, was the grill, the cowling, the photo etch, and all of that. I think that is the distinctive feature. Here it is. That's the distinctive feature, in my opinion, of what this model can do and what it looks like, and what a nice little model this is. So if you're looking to do something different, if you're looking to do something that maybe you haven't done before, or maybe you do spacecraft, or maybe you do ships or airplanes, well, here's kind of a combination of all three. And as we go past, you see the 357 there. It does come with another set of numbers, but since I'm only doing one of these, I decided to go with as much authenticity as possible at this point. And I did fix that light leak there on the jet engine as well. Once you get these into the dark, all the little blemishes will come out, and it'll show you a different model. Decals are nice. They go on quite well. They slide off. The water slide decals slide very nicely. They were thick, but not too thick. And then once I got a couple of coats of the Tamiya clear gloss over them, it really took any carrier film that may be on these, but they're really trimmed quite nice. And here's a little set of static shots. Wow, look at those jet engines. I think they turned out amazing. Here's just the center one in focus, and I really am pleased with that look throughout. Here's one with all the lights up. I was able to catch it just as they were pulsing on the navigation lights. Here's the headlights, and again an iconic shot of that grill. So hey, this has been a tremendous amount of fun. I definitely appreciate all of your subscriptions, your likes, your comments. I significantly appreciate the help. Please comment on anything that I could have done better, or anything that I missed that was a significant difference. The Ekranoplan is a neat little model, AMP models. And again, thanks for watching. This is the Sloppy Modeler, and go out and enjoy building a model, because sometimes these are the results that you come up with. Thank you.